Hello, this is Mrs. Westmoreland, and this is a lesson on chemical nomenclature, which is really just the rules that we use for naming compounds. And there will be a different set of rules for naming those that are ionic compared to those that are covalent. So I'm going to go through some examples now, and before we get started, what I want you to notice as I'm going through the examples is first I want you to look at the first word in the name of the compound. What kind of element it is. Is it a metal or a nonmetal? Is the name in the compound the same as it is on the periodic table? And also, is it related in any way to the subscript following the symbol of the element in the compound formula? So here we go with a set of ionic compounds. We have Na2S, and the first word is sodium. We have BaCl2, and the first word is barium. We have Sr3N2, and the first word is strontium. We have FeCl3, and the first word is iron, Roman numeral 3. And we have CrO2, and the first word is chromium, Roman numeral 4. So you should have noticed that all of those first words were metals, and that all of them were the same as the name on the periodic table, and that it didn't matter whether there was a subscript following the element in the chemical formula, it still was simply the name of the element. The only two that had numbers following were chromium and iron, which have the Roman numerals, but it doesn't relate at all to a number immediately following the symbol in the formula. Here's another one, tungsten 6 nitride, WN2. There's no 6 in that chemical formula at all. So yes, the name of the element is followed by a Roman numeral, but it doesn't necessarily correspond to the numbers in the chemical formula. Now we're going to look at those same compounds, and we're going to look at the second word in the name. Again, we want to see what kind of element it is, whether it's a metal or a nonmetal. Is it the same as the periodic table? And is it related to a subscript following the symbol? Again, we're doing ionic compounds. Na2S, the second word is sulfide. BaCl2, the second word is chloride. Sr3N2, the second word is nitride. FeCl3, the second word is chloride. CrO2, the second word is oxide. WN2, the second word is nitride. So again, you should notice that the second word relates to a non-metal element. There is nothing in the name suggesting how many of the atoms there are in the compound. So nothing to suggest that there are 2 nitrogens in this one when it says nitride. But the name of the element is nitrogen, the name in the compound is nitride. And that was true of all of these examples, that the ending was changed to ide, fluoride, nitride, chloride, sulfide. So the second element is a nonmetal. The second element ends in ide instead of the way it ends on the periodic table. However, we are not indicating in the name the number in the chemical formula. Now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to look at covalent compounds. So again, we want to look at the first word. What kind of element is it, metal or nonmetal? Is the name the same as the name on the periodic table? And is it related to the subscript following the symbol? So here are the covalent compounds. ClF3, chlorine. N2O, dinitrogen. Pi5, phosphorus. CO, carbon. CBr4, carbon. SF6, sulfur. N2O4, dinitrogen. So the name of the element is the same as it is on the periodic table: nitrogen, sulfur, carbon, carbon, phosphorus, nitrogen, chlorine. However, when there is a subscript following that symbol in the chemical formula, there's an additional prefix telling us how many that number is, the die for 2 in this case. So now let's look at the second word in the name of the covalent compounds. Again, what kind of element is it? Is the name the same as the periodic table? And is there somehow some information in the name that is related to the subscript following the symbol in the compound formula? Here we go for the same covalent compounds. ClF3 trifluoride is the second name. N2O monoxide is the second name. Pi5 pentaiodide is the second word. CO monoxide. CBr4 tetrabromide. SF6 hexafluoride. N2O4 tetroxide. So the second element also ended in "ide", and also in almost every case had a prefix to tell us how many there were in the chemical formula. So this is a summary for the top of page 4 of your Intro to Bonding packet. For ionic compounds, we name the metal cation first, and some of those metals are followed by Roman numerals. And we'll discuss further about how to decide which ones need Roman numerals and how to decide what the Roman numerals should be. There are no prefixes, nothing in the name to indicate what the subscripts after the symbols of the elements are. For the covalent compounds, we use prefixes. However, we only use mono on oxygen and only when it is the second element. So all of those covalent compounds that had one of the first element, like CO, was carbon monoxide, not monocarbon monoxide. And in common between the two types is that the first element name stays the same. It's the same as it is on the periodic table. It's carbon or it's sodium. And in both cases, ionic and covalent, the second element is going to end in "ide." And also the lower electronegativity element is most commonly written first, both for ionic compounds where the metal would be less electronegative, and for covalent compounds where it's between two nonmetals. So the prefixes we use in the covalent compounds are from Greek. So they're a little bit different than some of the Latin number words that you might be used to in geometry. So these are the numbers that you should know for writing Greek prefixes for covalent compounds. So now you should try the examples on page 4. First, identify whether it's ionic or covalent, and then use the correct set of rules to write the name. Thank you.